Airbus is warning of potential travel disruptions after announcing an urgent software update for its operational A320 series aircraft. It follows an incident last month in which a computer malfunction caused a plane to suddenly lose altitude. While most aircraft will be back in service within hours, older models requiring hardware changes could remain out of operation for weeks, forcing carriers to adjust schedules and suspend ticket sales to manage disruptions.
Thousands of Airbus A320 family jets have been grounded as airlines rush to implement an emergency software fix. The update triggered short-term flight disruptions such as delays, cancellations, and rescheduling, forcing passengers to rethink their travel plans.
I'm planning to attend a concert. I'm not sure if I can make it.
I'm on my way home from a business trip. I want to get back as quickly as possible.
Airbus ordered the update following a safety warning. The aircraft maker says this will address an issue that contributed to a sudden drop in altitude of a JetBlue plane last month. The European aviation giant said an analysis of the incident revealed that intense solar radiation may corrupt data needed for flight controls to function properly.
There was a flight from Cancun to New York on JetBlue where, they were a normal cruise flight, and then there was an uncommanded change in altitude. And I gathered that the pilots could, tell that it was not normal turbulence, that, the aircraft pitched down. They were able to trace the issue to some sort of a solar flare incident that affected the flight control software on the aircraft.
The A320 is the world's best-selling jet airliner, widely used by airlines worldwide. More than 11,000 are currently in use. Around half of them require the update, and airlines are scrambling to install it at one of the busiest travel times of the year.
For more on this, I am joined by aviation expert and DW reporter Javier Arguedas. Javier, how does that flight control system work, and why does it need to be fixed?
Well, in the past, when pilots flew planes, Melissa, they had to physically move the parts of the plane, push and pull. One of the big innovations by Airbus in commercial aviation was this so-called fly-by-wire system, where an electronic system translates the movements of the pilots or the inputs of the autopilot into the moving parts. In this case, the elevator and the ailerons, which are parts integrated into the wings and the tail of the plane, that essentially make the plane move up, down, or left and right. Now, when there is intense sun radiation, the microchips on these systems can get a little bit confused, if you will, and then send the wrong information to these parts, causing unwanted movements of the plane. This is apparently what happened with the JetBlue plane, causing an unwanted drop of altitude, and that's why this matter requires urgent attention.
So it seems that aviation experts know, and the engineers know, that solar radiation can cause this kind of hardware problem. How come the solution is a software update?
Yeah, it doesn't sound very reassuring because it is a physical problem, if you will. But here's the thing. For everything that happens on a plane, there's always at least two systems taking care of it. It's called a principle of redundancy in aviation. So what this means is that the software on these planes already knows that this can happen. They can see and detect information that is erroneous. They can cross-check it with other data that is on the plane, and then decide which command to give out. So the software update, which as far as I understand, is also a downgrade actually to an earlier version of the software that has been flying around without any issues, knows that there is a misreading, detects it, and then sends the correct signal over to the parts of the plane. And that's what these airplanes are essentially receiving. So that's why a software can fix what is essentially a hardware or a physical issue.
Now, the significant disruptions that we are hearing about, how much is it going to affect flight schedules?
Well, the aviation authorities gave, if you will, a little period of grace for airlines to move the planes back to their maintenance bases or to any maintenance base in the airports in which they're in. The directive doesn't really kick in until late at night here in Europe, tonight on Saturday, which means that most airlines, or many of them at least, have the opportunity to update their airplanes. This takes about 2 or 3 hours. That's within the normal period of time that an airplane stays on the ground between flights, and especially at night. So that's why many airlines were very quick to come out and say, hey, we got this under control, our updates are finished, or we expect them to be finished by the time that the directive kicks in. So the disruption doesn't seem to be that big at the moment. It depends on the airlines, how much infrastructure they have, how their routes are structured, whether they have spare planes that they can send in to cover flights. But it appears as though this is not going to be a massive disruption. We'll see what happens tonight.
And it sounds like, based on what you've said, that passengers should not be that concerned. DW reporter Javier Arguedas, thank you so much for this.